What's up guys, Noah here with CustomRCMods, and in today's video I've got a little bit of a debrief episode for you. If you guys are unaware, I posted a video last month of a little encounter I had with a city official at my local park while I was out flying my FT Bloody Wonder. I was recording because I was doing a flying video with the airplane where I basically talk about how it's flying, my setup on the airplane, just for anybody that's interested in making that plane themselves and flying it. And I got interrupted by this gentleman who basically came over with all his city garb on. He has his hat, his badge, his little collared shirt, and he came up to me and said, "Listen man, you're violating one of the city ordinances put in place that prohibits the use of lighter than air aircraft and drones," which coincidentally neither of those are my airplane. However, that was, just a smart aleck thing that I didn't really bring up at the time. But anyways, he comes up to me and we have this whole conversation, and it eventually ended up in not really having any resolution at all. I brought up that I was Part 107 certified for commercial drone flight, which is completely irrelevant and it's something I really regret doing. And then he basically backed down. I think he just wasn't that knowledgeable on what he was speaking about anymore and all the technicalities. So he just went away and left me feeling like, hey, is this ordinance real or not? And so, yeah, through that video, we got a lot of views. We're nearing 90,000 at the time of recording here, which is awesome. I thank you for all that support, and it really wasn't just a plot to get a bunch of internet fame. It was more just kind of throwing it out there as a question, how would you respond in that sense? Because I tried to keep it peaceful the best I could, but I'm not totally sure if I was too peaceful, too respectful, or anything like that. A lot of you guys told me just to tell them to go kick rocks or something like that, or other people were just commending me for how peaceful I was and how I kept it respectful and good. However, again, I didn't reach a resolution where it was a black and white answer of, hey, no, you can't fly here. This ordinance is overpowering anything, whether you're FAA Part 107 certified or not, or yes, you can fly here, because he just made up this ordinance and he was just trying to get one of the Karens back behind me to shut up because they were worried about little Timmy at his soccer practice who couldn't focus on the ball. So I wasn't totally sure. I'm making this debrief video because I've been thinking about it a lot and responding to a lot of your comments, and now here we are, and there's a lot more to talk about now that we've gotten a lot of this notoriety from the video. So first things first, I do want to talk about the experience itself. It was the middle of the afternoon on a beautiful summer day. Visibility conditions were excellent, of course. The park was vacant except for a small soccer practice going on about 500 feet behind where I was standing, so well out of my way. And it was like a little tight soccer practice, so again, nothing of high concern to me. So I was just flying, again, below 400 feet with a properly registered aircraft. Here I have my registration all filed through the FAA on each one of my planes that you see behind me, of course, and my number was on it at that time. I am recreationally certified, of course. I have my trust certification as well that they just put out, and my Part 107 certification, which I ended up saying again in the future, but is completely irrelevant to this situation. So I ended up getting up and flying, just talking and flying. I got about 5 minutes into the flight here, and he came up to me and basically told me all that same stuff, that there was a city ordinance against what I was doing there, and he told me that I didn't need to take the plane down, that I could keep flying and it wasn't a big deal. I guess he was just trying to be nice, which again I really respect. But honestly, I think that was something that really put me in danger and put him in danger as well as everybody around us. Now, I didn't immediately say, hey, listen, I'll talk to you when I land, like I should have, probably just because I'm used to holding conversations while I fly. I talk to the camera endlessly a bunch, so I'm used to having two things going on inside my head. But I can tell you it was a mentally taxing endeavor, just because I'm trying to think of how to respond to this guy, and I the entire time hadn't made any eye contact with him or anything like that. And of course, trying to still fly a very touchy airplane with a big long streamer on the end of it, and it really became a autonomous, monotonous flying in circles sort of deal on one end, and me stuttering and trying to find the best words possible to use when completely preoccupied in our conversation. So yeah, that was my first mistake I made, and the second mistake I made was bringing up that I'm Part 107 certified so soon in our conversation, because like I said, it's completely irrelevant in that situation. I was flying recreationally. Obviously I had the camera on my head, so we can make a whole debate about if the YouTube monetization makes it a commercial flight. However, my intentions for the flight were to have enjoyment and to really just have a good time flying this airplane and talk to you guys while I was doing it. So it's really relevant if I had the camera on or not, because he still would have approached me. In this case, I did have the camera on, but again, any other time I would have been over there, I probably wouldn't have been recording. So he comes up to me and we have this conversation, but as soon as I whip out the Part 107 license, he's like, oh, you're licensed? Okay, you're fine. You jump through all the hoops, you're good to go, see you later. And then that kind of just left me, questioned, because honestly, I was confused from the beginning, because first off, I had emailed the director of Parks and Recreation in the fall of last year asking about some new signage they put up that the area was under surveillance, and he had said that that there was no ordinances in place and that there was no radio controlled regulations in the area. Just go ahead and use the best caution you can while out flying. So he gave me a thumbs up to keep flying at that park. And this dude was saying, hey, listen, there's an ordinance in place. So obviously, I believe there could have been an ordinance that they put in place, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna rule that out. But I don't really think that it's been a swelling issue in the community, unless there's just been a lot of complaints from me flying it at that park. But there really hasn't been a big issue, so I'm not totally sure what this sudden change in the laws was really warranted by. So I'm not totally sure, but that was my initial thoughts. I checked all the book of ordinances as recent as I could find them, and I found nothing in the ordinance book for Parks and Recreation in my city. So again, totally confused on that. And overall, I'm not totally sure even what to think of that anymore. So some of you guys recommended that I reach out to my director of Parks and Recreation once again. However, if there is that law, I still kind of want to use the benefit of the doubt I have, and the fact that he said that I could keep flying instead of completely getting shut down if there actually is that ordinance in place. So I'm going to keep flying and hope that maybe it happens again and we can get some more clarity on this. I'm not going to just directly reach out and get completely shut down, because essentially that park is the livelihood of my YouTube channel, and all these planes you see have flown there. That's where I do all my videos and things like that. So I'd like to be able to fly there for as long as possible, if that makes sense. So overall, some of the reactions I got from the video initially was really made in two camps. The first one was, hey, listen, you should have told this dude to go F off, to go kick rocks, to go eat sand, whatever. And I'm with you on that. There's a lot of that stuff that I agree with, that, hey, listen, I'm trying to fly my plane here. I'm not doing any harm. You can see that I know what I'm doing. But at the same time, I am an ambassador for our hobby when I'm in that situation. And so are you if the police ever come up to you or any official comes up to you. So being peaceful, respectful, and willing to conversate with that individual was something that really gave him a better light, or gave him a better idea, shed a better light on this hobby as a whole for him and his future outlook on RC and drone flight for the future. So I'm not totally sure which one would have been better. I wish I was a little more firm, of course, with the actual laws and things in place that I knew. However, this was my first time hearing about the ordinance. So once again, I'm not totally sure how I should have reacted, and if what I was doing was completely appropriate, or if I should have been a little bit more blunt, just to try to get my point across a little bit better. But I'm glad that I eased on the side of being nicer than being more harsh. So hopefully we'll have peaceful interactions in the future. Now, going forward, what will I be doing if this happens again? Every single time I head out to the park now, I assume that it might happen because of course it just happened there. And that's something that pretty much has become the reality of flying models, drones, FPV, things like that nowadays. And here's what I'd recommend that you have, and what I'm gonna be doing for myself in the future. So first things first, I'm gonna land my aircraft before engaging in a conversation with this individual. So that's gonna give me the best chance to make an impact on them, as well as to be not distracted, of course, and to keep everybody in the area safely. And then I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate how I was flying safely by referencing some of the federal laws in place, such as flying in good visibility, flying under 400 feet, having the proper registration in place, and flying in a vacant area free of people or obstacles and things like that. So I wanna go ahead and say how I know the laws and know what I'm talking about to this individual. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about is the federal and local and state laws and how they all intertwine. I saw something that Joshua Bardwell posted on TikTok recently that talked about how the local legislation can't make new laws on top of what the FAA has already made, so that essentially they have protected the right to free airspace for public use. So there is some gray area on that, again, with being able to like take off and land on that property or being able to operate off the property in that situation. So I'm not totally sure how that would intertwine into an argument. But for the future, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just bring that up as a conversation starter and ask them if they were aware of that. I'm also gonna make sure that I get their name, their identification number, as well as their supervisor's name, if that's the director or if that's just someone else, just so I can go ahead and reach out to people for the future if I need to talk about these ordinances, as well as, of course, the ordinance name, number, and maybe a paper copy of it, if not at least some sort of email or link to it, because I want to see this like an actual thing rather than just taking their word for it, which is something that's easy to do in the moment, but of course made it more complicated for me to find that later down the road, which, again, spoiler alert, I never did. So yeah, overall, I'm going to try to keep it as peaceful as possible. However, giving them eye contact and my full attention should make it hit home a little bit more, hopefully to them, that I take these laws seriously, as well as I take my right to fly model aircraft and drones seriously as well, because I shouldn't be denied that, something that I'm doing just for fun. I'm flying a toy. I'm out here enjoying myself, playing with toys, and anybody that comes up to me, I'm eager to talk to them about what model aviation has done in my life and how much fun it is and what there is to learn, and maybe even what can it do for the future for the workforce and pilots and engineers and things like that. So yeah, that's my overall take on this scenario. I'm sorry if I was rambling a lot or anything like that during this video. I just wanted to get this out there and do it in as little takes as possible because I wanted you guys to get my raw thoughts on this overall situation. If you guys have any other thoughts on what I should be doing differently for next time, or your overall thoughts on this situation as a whole, I'd love to hear them down in the comments section below. I really was happy with the response we got on last video, so if you have any more of those similar thoughts, please make sure to go ahead and make them known to me as well. Of course, if you guys are new here, please subscribe to the channel for more content coming out almost every single day, and like, subscribe, all that other YouTube stuff, like notification bell, I don't even know. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.